Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're joining us for the first time, well, you're welcome. You can as well put on the notification bell so you get notified when next I make a video. So I'm here to give you a tutorial on how to make a Sofia fondant cake. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to coat my cake with some buttercream icing, and this is very necessary in making fondant because it works as an adhesive. It helps to hold the fond or glue the fondant to your cake. So that's why it's very important that you are properly applying the buttercream icing all over your cake. So I'm just going to clean the surface of my cake. This is to prevent your buttercream icing from messing up your fondant. So if you look at what I did previously with the measuring tape, I was actually trying to get the measurement of my cake. So I had to measure the top of my cake, and then I measured all around my cake. This is to guide me on how much fondant I need and how to roll my fondant, and you're going to see how this measurement was able to help me. So this was an 8-inch cake, and I was able to measure 22 inches around my cake. So I'm just going to keep on rolling until I get 22 inches long on my fondant. So this is what I was actually trying to get here. So I was able to trim off the excess because I think I got more than 22. But then it's very, very important that you get to roll out more than that 22 inches you were able to get. So while rolling your fondant, you have to be careful. See, just look at what happened here, and that was because I wasn't careful enough. You have to be applying enough cornstarch at the surface of your board. This is to prevent your fondant from sticking to your board. And not only that, you have to try moving your fondant at intervals. It will really help to avoid such mistakes. So because of the mistake I made, I have to go all over again to roll out my fondant. And then I was able to I measured 22 inches long, or 22 inches around my fondant cake, and that is why I'm trying to roll all over to get 22 inches long of my fondant. But then I had in mind the height of my cake. So I had 10-inch high. This was a 10-inch high cake, and you also want to make sure that your width, both the length and the width, is both 10 inch long and 22 inches long, if I'm even making myself very clear. Okay, just try to understand. If you're not understanding anything, just you could mention that on the comment section. I'm trying to look at me. This is me measuring, trying to get the inches, the 10-inch width that I was able to. Oh, Jesus Christ, English. I know you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so by the time you've gotten your measurements right, you just have to, I went ahead to roll out my fondant to my candle rolling stick, and yeah, you see that. And then I had to use a blade or a knife, whatever you have. Just make sure it's sharp enough to trim off the excess on your cake, the excess fondant on your cake. And the reason why I had to apply some water here, that's actually water, that is to help. Water helps as a glue, a form of glue on fondant. So you will see subsequently that I get to use water a lot, because it helps to glue. As long as it's fondant to fondant, it works as a very, very, very good source of glue. So that was what I was able to do there, to stick or to glue the two sides of my fondant together. So I'm just using my fondant smoother to smoothing out my fondant. You want to do this enough to make sure that you're coming out with a very, very smooth fondant. And that's me trimming off the excess fondant off my board. So guys, making a fondant cake actually takes time. That's why they are more expensive, because of the stress involved. So you want to make sure you're getting this process right so that you can have come out with a very very smooth fondant cake. All right. So just go ahead to trim off any excess of fondant cake you have at the top, because we are going to be covering the top of the cake right now. So I took little of my pink fondant, and I got the measurement right here. As you can see, I got the measurement that I of fondant needed for the top of my cake. Okay, so I'm just going to place it over the top of my cake, and I want to make sure that it's smooth enough, and that's me using another board to flip over. The essence of this process or this stage is just so that I could actually trim off that excess fondant to get a very neat finished work. Okay, and then I go ahead again to use my fondant smoother. This is just so that I get to have a clean finish. So you don't want to be in a rush. You really don't want to be in a rush. You want to take your time. If you really want to come up with a very clean work, you need to take your time. No rushing when it comes to fondant cake. You really have to take your time. Okay, so we are back again to flipping over the cake, and we are using this tool again. You just cannot ignore this, because this tool is really going to help you get a very smooth finish. So I'm using a brush to dust off that cornstarch on my fondant. Okay, so over to covering my board, I took on some fondant, and I had to measure the board. I had a 12-inch board, so I had to measure the board, and this measurement helped me to know the quantity of fondant to use. And that's me using some water. I told you before, water aids as a glue, so that's me using water all over the board, and I had to apply it all over the board to such that my fondant can actually glue to the surface of my board. And then again, I'm using my fondant smoother to get a smooth finish or a clean finish. So I'm just going to be using a blade to trim off the excess fondant all over my board. You don't need that. You really don't need that. So you want to go ahead to trim off every excess on your board. So there are different methods of covering the board of your cake, but I prefer using this method. But there are different methods. So I'm just going to be placing the board carefully over my cake, because I'm going to be flipping over again. So you want to do that carefully, because once the board touches the cake, the cake is really good. It's going to leave a stain on your covered board. So you want to carefully place that before flipping over. So guys, as you can see, my cake is looking glossy, and that was because I used a steam to remove the cornstarch. The cornstarch was actually what was responsible for making the cake look whitish. I'm sorry I wasn't able to include the video, but I'm going to do that next time on my next cake video. So I'm actually putting in some white fondant on my mold. This is called mold. Molds have different designs. I wasn't able to get a clearer or a closer picture or video to see how the mold looks like, but well, that's it. So I just used my mold to get this design, and I'm going to be putting this bead design all over my cake. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you get notified when next I drop a video. I make videos at least 3 times in a week, at least 3 times in a week, so you don't want to miss any of my tutorials. Okay, so please give me a thumbs up so I get to know you're picking interest in what I'm giving you. So that's it for the mold, guys. So here, this is actually a Sofia cake, Sofia the first cake. So I had to go to the market and I got some toppers. You could buy these toppers, you could print them by yourself, but I really didn't have the time to print, so I had to go to the market and I bought some of these toppers. So there is no particular way on how to place your toppers. They come in this form with these sticks underneath them, so you could just place them however way that suits you. As you can see on the video, I tried using, I was doing a kind of trial and error here. So you just place them however you prefer placing them. So guys, this is the point where you get to apply, or you get to test how creative you can be. Just have fun placing these pictures, have fun placing the toppers anyhow, any which way. Just place them anyhow. This is actually, the cake looks busy, and that's because it belongs to a child. Cakes that belongs to children are usually busy. They are usually colorful and they are usually very, very busy. So yeah, and then we are done. Yes, so here we have it, Sofia the first. It's beautiful, it's lovely, it's simple. Yeah, it's simple but busy, but it's just a simple, beautiful cake. So thanks for watching, guys. Until my next video, bye.